I chose to dress in my early 20th century camping garb because it seems like every time I put on 18th century gear, it scares some people off. So I'm not going to let my nerd flag fly a little bit, but I do want to talk about some crossover elements, because when I started this whole YouTube journey 6 years ago, I started out with Civil War, and then I transitioned from Civil War to early 20th century. And one of my favorite parts about history is the overlap and how things kind of developed over time, you know? And to that, it's I have some unfortunate news that I need to pass on to you guys in regards to a good friend of mine, and good friend of ours, a good friend to the community, and that's Kent or Sarge Vining of the Bannerman's YouTube channel. He also had the Sarge Vining YouTube channel before he lost it, and he's the founder, and he was the operator of the Bannerman's Camp Facebook page, and he was also the owner of Vico Outfitters. That's something that Sarge and I love talking about, is just the transition of technology and how we today benefit from all the technologies before, but also how often it is that ideas just get recycled or recirculated. There are so many things throughout history that humans really don't necessarily improve upon. We just find another way of repackaging it. And it's always fun when you discover that and you see it. So Sarge Vining passed away earlier this week, and it's been a personal shock to me, and it's certainly a shock to his family. It was completely unexpected. He was at a Kingsbury event this past weekend, and they don't know exactly what happened, but please say a prayer, keep his family and his friends and people who knew him in your thoughts. And, you know, the best way to honor somebody is to carry on their legacy, and don't let the light dim and just burn out. So that's what I'm going to do. And I've got some things in the works, including a shared dream he and I talked about many times. And I'm going to use my ADHD superpower and hyper focus on it as soon as the Preston Mess Kit gets all worked out. But today's video is going to talk about something that I talked about before, and that is an edged tool or edged weapon in the 18th century. So I commissioned Darcy Quap, and if you don't know, Darcy Quap hand forged for me 2 knives. He hand forged me a Nesmik knife and a Kephart knife, the reproduction. And God bless him, because he had so much patience with me. Guys, I wanted a true reproduction. And Darcy is a metal artist. Now the guy, he specializes in 18th century, you know, knives and axes and stuff. But anyhow, I digress. So this is the Tomahawk, the belt axe, if you will, that he forged for me. He forged one for my son, and he forged one for myself. Now, it just looks like a regular Tomahawk, but this thing actually has some pretty cool features. And it was a complimentary sidearm to the Continental Soldier during the American Revolution. Now, this is a single-shot musket, not a rifle, because it's not a rifled barrel, right? And once soldiers would fire that, especially if you're a Continental, oftentimes you would charge and surprise the enemy. Now, early on, when bayonets were not all that common, it was difficult to supply all the troops with bayonets. Militia were expected to supply themselves with a belt axe or tomahawk. Okay. Now, this obviously was very useful for doing camp chores. We're talking about, you know, still early America. Areas are getting populated, certainly, but when you are camping, you know, you got to build shelters, you got to build fires, especially since they weren't able to really do a good job of supplying soldiers with enough canvas to have shelter halves, like in the Civil War, or even World War I, World War II. Okay, so having your belt axe would allow you to go out into the forest and forage for materials to build yourself a shelter and stay warm by cutting enough wood for your fire, right? Now, there were lots of different types of tomahawks used. That was during the American Revolution, or the War for American Independence. I opted for the hammer pole axe for a couple reasons. Now, logically to me, if this is going to be a camp tool, having a hammer pole, right, to hammer in your stakes for your camp or nails or whatever, that just made logical sense for me. But also, having the edge is really nice for, cutting down trees and sharpening the stakes and things like that. When you're in a fight, right? Now, I've been doing some research. I've been watching some people who are way smarter than I am when it comes to edged weapons, especially axe fighting, tomahawks, etc. And I'm going to put a link in the description box with all the different source videos and source books and etc. that I found. That way you can look at them yourselves. But it seems like everybody is in agreement that when they were fighting, they would basically aim for the head. Now, a Continental soldier, he had a lot of traps on him, and you also had wool, so, cutting through all the materials, whether it be your leather cartridge box or your bayonet sling or what have you, that could deflect and not do as much damage as you needed to, right? Plus, soldiers, when they'd have their muskets, what are they defending? They're defending like their chest area for the most part. So if you can get a good swing in for the head, which is what Native Americans tended to do, instead of using it as like a slicing, instead they're using it as more like a bludgeoning type weapon. So you could come in for the neck or the head or whatever, even if you have your tricorn hat, and get that knocked off, you can do a lot of damage. Well, the hammer pole also just made more sense to me, because if you get and this is from some of the sources, that the tomahawk would get stuck. I don't want to get too brutal or what have you, but if the tomahawk would get stuck, that's going to slow you down. Whereas if you got a hammer pole and you can smash into somebody's head, you can do a lot of damage that way as well, maintaining the edge for other uses, right? So that's why ultimately I opted for the hammer pole tomahawk. Now, tomahawks are really nice out in the woods, because if the handle cracks or breaks or something like that, you can literally just go out to the woods, find a stick of similar size, and you can whittle yourself another handle and keep on trucking. Whereas like a hatchet, it's not tapered down in the eye, so you have to use a wedge to expand it, to lock it in place. Now, there's things that you could do to kind of finagle it, but ultimately, the tomahawk head was supposed to be reusable. You don't have to throw it in the fire and burn out the eye like so many people have to today to replace the handle of your various hatchets, etc. Now, one thing I was really hoping for, and I didn't know what Darcy was going to do, is how much of a severe wedge is he going to put in the steel in regards to his grind. And he hit it out of the park, as you can see. It's got a nice wedge on there. It's not too wide, so it's not going to be such a bad chopper, and it's not going to be so narrow where it's not going to be a bad, or it's not so narrow where it's going to be a bad splitter. This is a perfectly executed camp hatchet or belt axe type grind. And my son and I, we were out there messing around with our tomahawks the other day, as soon as we got them. And I gotta say, it sticks wonderfully. I threw it, and it sticks. We were messing around, carving some steaks, and it did wonderfully. So I'm gonna show you how well this does, carving some steaks, if you will, just cutting in a little bit, just so you can see the impact and the benefits possibly of having a tomahawk instead of, say, a traditional hatchet. You can choke up on this now. That's another real nice feature that Darcy put in there. It's really comfortable to have right here in the crook of my hand. And this little bearded area is nice for doing more precise if you want to do some carving. There you go. The dates that I chose for Darcy to put on my hawk and my son's hawk was actually our birthday. So my birthday is August 16th. And what I did is I subtracted the year, so I'm coming up on 40 years old this year, from 1776. So if I was born in 1736 on August 16th, then I'd be 40 years old this year for the 250th. And then for the saying, this is what I came up with. I wanted to put something on there that was inspirational in regards to original continental sayings and phrases, but I also wanted to include my personal faith. So to that end, I came up with, to tyrants the edge, yield to none but God. Now when it comes to a mask, Darcy had a really cool idea. He was inspired by this particular design that he saw somewhere online or at an event, what have you. So he was really anxious to make one, and he made my son and I one, which is really handy because it is just a drop sheath. All right, so it does what it needs to do, but if you need to quickly get to it, you can pull it out, but it's not going to cut into your side. Now, continental soldiers, they would often just throw it in their belts, or if they were issued one of these, which this was actually for a sword and a bayonet, so an NCOs or officers, but it has a loop in there where soldiers could just throw their belt axes or their tomahawks in there like so. So now they've got their tools right next to them, really close, and it carries in a handy fashion. So I got to make an axe cover, a mask, and it's going to be fun. A nice little project to go along with my belt knife. Well, you're going to tell me what you think of my little tomahawk, and if you yourself use a tomahawk for your guys' camp chores, what you like about it, what you dislike about it. I am such an axe guy. I don't know beyond my fascination as a kid just carrying over into adulthood, but I just love taking a small hatchet or axe with me when I go outdoors to do camp chores. It's not like I'm cutting down massive timber. It's not like that I'm, I don't know, building a fort or anything like that. But I don't know, there's just something about having a hatchet, a small one if nothing else. That way I can reliably use it for a tool if I'm going to cut a walking stick, if I'm going to build something small. You know, I'm not really a big bushcraft guy, but having a hatchet just to carve, quickly chop down or chop out some saplings to do a little project, just, I don't know, it makes me happy. It's my comfort item. I know a lot of people take their silky saws for bushcrafting, and I have nothing to say bad about it. I can't say that that's a bad choice because it's not a bad choice. In fact, it's lighter, generally speaking, than what a hatchet is. Speaking of which, let's see how heavy Darcy made our hatchets. It's 1 pound, 7 ounces. So that's some weight, especially if you're going backpacking. If you're going car camping, it's not too bad. But if you're going backpacking, that 1 pound can add up pretty fast. So I probably wouldn't take this if I was doing my 15-miler with my scouts. But yeah, tell me what you think. If you like the video, please click like. It helps other people find the video. We really appreciate it. It helps out this channel. If you are interested in the Press and Mess Kit, should come in June at this point. I actually got some video that I sent to the buyers of the Press and Mess Kit that the company over in India sent me. The canteen is in its final stages. They've got the tooling already made for the pans. Now they're working on like the handles and the furniture to basically make it a functional, Baker vessel or everything else that it can do. But if you're interested in the Press and Mess Kit, it's going to cost $200, and it's in the description box below for a link so you can secure your own. The thing is sweet. It is the best one-man mess kit in my opinion. It's got a cup, has a 54-ounce canteen, has a skillet, and has a plate. You can connect the skillet and the plate together to make a carrying vessel, and it locks into place. Or you can use it to bake things. Like, I love baking biscuits in it. I love baking cobblers in it. Like, it's a perfect design. It really is. Again, in the description box below, you can check that out. Now, if you are interested in historical or traditional camping, then you should check out the Camp Crafters Guild at www.onwildfitters.com/join the guild. Now, the Camp Crafters Guild is a great community, man. We got so many awesome people on there who just love sharing our knowledge, sharing our experiences, and posting whatever that they have in regards to camping historically or modern. I went on a 15-mile backpacking trip with my scouts a couple weeks ago, and I've just posted videos on there to share with them my little adventure, you know, and got some encouragement. They gave me some ideas on how to improve the camp. Like, it's just a very cool community. So check it out at www.onwildfitters.com/join the guild. Now, if you'd like to see more about the Press and Mess Kit, you can check out this playlist here and learn all about it. And if you're interested in camp crafting, then you should check out this link over here. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.